Hello and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. Tonight I was supposed to be in the studio audience on Gammon Box News, quizzing the Prime Minister about these so-called Brexit opportunities that have so far failed to materialise, because they don't exist. I had been selected not just to be in the audience for this thing they called GB News People's Forum, the Prime Minister, but also to stand up and ask the question I submitted when I applied. However, ladies and gentlemen, it is my solemn duty to inform you that I was actually cancelled by GB News. Yep, that's right. The channel that bangs on and on about cancel culture, like a toothless yokel bangs on about having the moon in a bucket, has decided that I am persona non grata. I'm simply not rich nor gammony enough to join in the national debate. One can only assume that they actually Googled me, which is never a good idea. I admit that when they asked me who I voted for in the last few elections, I said I voted for the Conservatives. When they asked me which way I voted in the Brexit referendum, I said, for Brexit, of course, you fools. Brexit means Brexit. Let's go WTO. I have no idea how the world works. I did this because GBB's is hardly known for its impartiality. It's had hundreds of complaints and more Ofcom investigations than you can shake a stick at. Not least because they insist on getting Tory MPs to interview other Tory MPs while accusing everyone else of bias. It's like that was the week that was never existed. Softball interviews a go-go. Would you like me to tickle you under the chin, Minister? There's a good boy. Would you like some cat food? No, seriously, would you like some cat food? That actually happened. Nevertheless, I haven't committed any crimes, and I've been on countless live TV and radio shows on the BBC Breakfast Couch, in the audience for Question Time. I've been interviewed by CNN, NBC, ITV, Channel 4, Sky News, you name it. I've never caused any disruption or said a rude word before the watershed. It seems to me that GBB's believes in innocent until proven guilty only when it comes to racists and sex offenders. Now, I could sit here and wax lyrical about how I've been cancelled. No pearls would go unclutched. I've been cancelled. Quick, somebody give me a column in a national newspaper and an 18-part series on Netflix, or a one-man show at a national theatre, and a 97-stop book tour to promote my book. Help, I've been cancelled. But I'm not going to do that, mostly because I'm not a total dick. Well, total dick. But it's also because I haven't been cancelled. Not really. I'm still going to be making videos on Labour Social. I'm still going to be posting things on social media that enrage the hard of thinking. And I'm still going to campaign to help grind the Tory party to dust come the next election. The fact is that I applied to be on a TV show. They originally liked the cut of my jib, but then some due diligence was done. It turns out I'm a bit of a gobby scouse anti-Brexit activist. So they erred on the side of caution. I get it. But here's the thing. GB News spends a lot of its time going on and on about how unfair and prejudiced life is in the UK if you're rich and a bit fash. They whine endlessly about the BBC as if Nigel Farage wasn't on Question Time more times than David Dimbleby. They bitch and holler about not being allowed to be horrible, to be bigoted, to be racist, to be transphobic, or to have unpopular opinions. That's all projection. I know a number of people up here in the Northeast who applied to be on this show who told the truth that they voted for the Lib Dems or Labour in the last election. They said they voted to remain in the European Union. And guess what? None of them were invited on the show. Obviously, the plural of anecdote is not data. However, it does seem that it's very likely that the people behind GB News and behind the Tories, all old school chums, I assume, got together and said, hey, look, there's 2 by-elections this week. Labour is still 20 points ahead in the polls, and we don't want anyone in the audience who comes loaded with facts and figures and who is going to give our golden boy Sunak a hard time, except for conspiracy theorists and wingnuts who can be easily discredited. Let's face it, it just goes to show how difficult it is to get your message out if you don't own the means of communication. And pretty much all the main means of communication in this country are either owned by or dominated by right-wing millionaires and billionaires. I didn't watch the show in the end. I had better things to do. But I've seen some of the lowlights. It was a typically shoddy affair. GBB's really is the Granada Men and Motors of TV news. And while I can't say I'm not a little disappointed that I didn't get to confront Sunak on his party's horrific record in government. There are a few positives that have come from this, mostly that I didn't have to travel to Darlington. I didn't have to get a tetanus jab after the show. And from now on, whenever anyone complains on Gammon Box News about cancel culture, I can just kick back and say, well, you cancel me, you bastards. That's my take. Let me know yours in the comments below.